For more than 150 years, Trinity University has celebrated human inquiry. Our innovative curriculum is rooted in a distinctive blend of the liberal arts and sciences. Students and faculty hone creative curiosity by answering questions and questioning answers. In a supportive, interdisciplinary environment, they seek ways to build bridges and make connections. And with intentional meaning and purpose, they are driven by a sense of duty to themselves and to the world. Add in opportunities for undergraduate research, experiential learning, and nationally recognized pre-professional programs in business, communication, healthcare, education, and entrepreneurship, you get the full Trinity experience. The liberal arts plus. And while this experience may end with a Trinity degree, it's just the beginning of a lifetime of inspired exploration and perpetual discovery.
Conference and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives, including singling out anyone by name, number, or position, are bound to remove from the site of competition, other disciplinary action. Public intoxication, as well as the consumption and possession of alcoholic beverages and or tobacco products is strictly prohibited. Persons throwing objects or participating in other acts in conflict with good sportsmanship and fair play are subject to ejection. Trinity also requires that you wear your mask indoors, except while eating or drinking. Please do not use flash photography. Thank you for your cooperation in supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Ladies and gentlemen, prior to player introductions, we ask you to please rise to honor America with our national anthem.
welcome into CalGuard Gym here on a Tuesday night as we conclude the regular season home slate for the Trinity Tigers. The Schreiner Mountaineers are in town and a lot is on the line. My name is Ryan Figert and I'm joined once again by Brian Yantelson in the booth and Luke Terry on the court. Brian, Coach Schmidt described this game to us as big a regular season game can be, and it certainly is.
Yeah, I know you and I and Luke and everyone around here at CalGuard Gym have been so excited for this matchup. If you had told the Schreiner Mountaineers in December that this would be as big of a matchup as it is, they may not have believed you. They started 2-9, they were really struggling, but boy, have they turned it around. They are 11-1 since that point. They have beaten St. Thomas, they took Trinity to overtime, and they are tied here with Trinity, as you see on your screen, for the ever-important second spot. If you get second place or first place in the SCAC, you get a bye in the tournament that's coming up, and it is so important to get that rest on Friday, as Coach Smith mentioned to us. So I know we are both so thrilled to be on the call. Should be an excellent game here in San Antonio.
And there you see Mick Marquez, the final member of the starting five, to receive the hype from David Nickel. He's making a huge start today in one of the biggest games of the season, and Ryan, it's been all on merit. He's earned every minute that he's gotten this season, and no better way to end his Trinity home career here at CalGuard Gym than in the starting five.
Yeah, I mean, he was a manager just a few years ago. He nearly didn't even make the team at all, and here he is in one of the most important games of the season, starting right there at the 5 position. So what an amazing story for Mick Marquez, and he's really earned it. He didn't miss a shot for about a month, and he did a great job against Southwestern, so really earned his spot here, and excited to see him in such a big game.
Joining him in the starting five, Seiki, Brown, Clark, and Jenkins, the familiar 4 for Trinity. On the other side, De Hoyos, Ross, Gibson, Ned, and Reed. First 5 on the court for the Mountaineers, and Trinity win the tip, and A.J. Clark is going to go right to the rim here. His finger roll in the lane, no good. If you're joining us for the first time, maybe a Schreiner fan, that's the pace that Trinity want to play with. As soon as they catch the ball, can we get a shot? Can we get to the rim? Can we get fouled? They're amongst the country leaders in trips to the free throw line and most free throws made, and a lot of it is that pace on offense. For Schreiner, if Trinity fans are interested, wanting to profile what the Mountaineers are about, they're really good on the boards. One of the best teams in the SCAC, as a three-pointer is up for Reed, and A.J. Clark grabs the rebound for Trinity. Mountaineers, one of the best teams in the league at grabbing rebounds, specifically offensive rebounds, specifically this man with the ball right now, Camden Ross. Ross is the second leader in rebounds in the SCAC and the first in field goal percentage. A lot of those, Coach Smith talking to us before the game, coming on putbacks. Here he is in the post, battling with Marquez. That one up and no good. The tip-in attempt was off from Jalen Ned. And Seiki's called for an early foul. We'll head to the free throw line. Schreiner with a chance at the first points of the game.
So it hasn't taken very long for us to see exactly what we're expecting. Coach Smith putting it as Trinity's biggest strength against Schreiner's biggest strength. Trinity's strength being running in transition, trying to score fast, and that goes directly in contrast to what Schreiner likes to do, and that's get those offensive rebounds. Of course, if you're trying to go quickly the other way, you might be vulnerable to giving up those offensive rebounds. So we'll have to see how these teams match up, and Schreiner taking advantage, getting a quick offensive board, and converting at the line for 1.
Mountaineers first on the board. And Trinity look to respond. Big skip pass to Tanner Brown from the left corner for 3. That one off the mark, doesn't draw iron, and now Reed's running it the other way. Seiki back does well not to pick up his second foul, but it's 2 more points on the board for the Mountaineers. Trinity still cold to start the game, but there's Marquez underneath, and he's so consistent when he gets shots up, just like he was on senior night the other day, where he put up 8 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, all in 14 minutes. You mentioned he had that long streak of over a month without missing a shot. He gets in good places as the Mountaineers look to respond with a 3, and he plays within himself. We saw that as he got Trinity on the board for the first time. We're at the other end now. Tanner Brown with a pump fake. Looks off to Hoyos, and now A.J. Clark with another finger roll in the lane. Comes up short. Gibson gets this one back for Jalen Ned for three. An offensive rebound. Ned gets his own miss. And Tanner Brown, some strong defense on the inside to turn him away. And now here's Enzo Seiki stepping into a three. And I think the energy and the nerves from Trinity really showing. They're almost too amped up with these three-pointers. Some of the most consistent shooters on the team missing badly here early on, Brian.
And there is a lot of energy even early on. The student section filling in nicely right as tip-off approached. So I think you're right. It's a big game. This program hasn't experienced many big games with fans in the stands. Their regular season conference title last year coming in an empty gym. And so I think you're right. Just a little bit of nervous energy, but we'll see if they can control themselves and get into a groove here, maybe after the first media timeout.
Almost 3 minutes into this game. Schreiner with the early lead, 3-2. Here's De Hoyos, great find underneath. And going up through the contact, Ned unable to finish. And he fouls Jenkins, who was looking to push it up the other end. First time we've really called De Hoyos' name on offense. And Brian, he's got to be up there amongst the favorites to win the SCAC MVP at this point. He's led this team back into contention at the top of the table where no one expected they would be. You know, he's been an honorable mention SCAC honoree twice in his career, but he's put up career numbers in field goal percentage, assists, rebounds. You know, he's really done it all for this team. And with a few inexperienced guys alongside him, as Harvey looks to get going off the bench for Trinity. Clark grabs the rebound. Marquez finds 2 points underneath. It's really been De Hoyos to lead the Mountaineers this year.
Yeah, it absolutely has right there, though we see Marquez as Jenkins gets the steal and gets a quick 2 points to get a couple of quick ones for Trinity. But Marquez still doing a great job as being the go-to right there underneath the basket. We expected it from Schreiner early on, but it's been Marquez and Trinity with the offensive rebounds that have helped early on.
Caleb Jenkins profiting with 2 points to his name, but really his energy bringing this gym to life. Got the steal leading to the basket and got back in time to swat that one away. You see Trinity's number 5 getting there just ahead of the 5 for Schreiner. De Hoyos is now looking to inbound it at the other end. Toss this one out for Jackson Reed. Look for him to get up shots from the outside. Thought about it here, and he will after he got Jenkins up in the air. That one comes off the stanchion. And it'll be Trinity ball to inbound. 6-0 run for Trinity over the last 2 minutes. And they'll most likely get one more look at it before we head into the first media timeout. Harvey came into the game quickly for Tanner Brown, and a look to get him open here once again on the left wing. He goes down low for Seiki, triple teamed in the post. AJ Clark open for 3, and he has a word back to the Schreiner bench as that one rains home. 3 more for Trinity, 9-3 is the advantage.
AJ Clark, such a leader on this team. Even when he's not leading in the box score, he is leading on the court.
Jenkins nearly able to rip that one away. Reed is left on the floor, still struggling to get back to his feet as the referee brings the game to a halt here for the media timeout. Trinity going down 3-0 and come roaring back here. 9-0 run over the last 3 minutes. And when we come back, we'll have Luke Terry bringing us some of the news from down on the floor. We welcome you back here out of the media timeout. We've got Luke Terry on the floor. Luke, what are you hearing from both coaching staffs? What's their point of emphasis going into this game?
Yeah, Ryan, for Trinity and Coach Holmes, the assistant coach, the points of emphasis coming into this one were boxing out on the defensive end, making sure that Schreiner could not grab offensive rebounds. Additionally, getting back to running in transition. And for the Mountaineers, the points of emphasis in this one were limiting transition. So in addition to that, moving the ball on the offensive end and trying to find good shots against this sound Trinity zone. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Luke. Some great insight from either bench as Trinity grabbed 2 more points coming out of the timeout. Sakey's on the board, and another steal as Harvey has it going the other way. Here's Caleb Jenkins. Stutter step, and he gets to the rim. He's fouled. And Bloom, who's off the bench in place of Jackson Reed, is called for a block there. He was set, I believe. Yeah, you see the heels on the edge of the restricted area. Good call that time for the officials. Great work from Luke on the sideline and from the whole Tiger Network staff as we continue to ramp up the production here towards the home stretch of the season.
Pretty brave of Luke to be right there under the basket with Enzo Sakey driving. Not a comfortable position at all, but bringing us that information we need from the court.
1-for-2 trip to the line for Jenkins. Trinity lead 12-3. Schreiner and an almost 4-minute scoring drought in the open court, and he's unable to finish with the left hand. About the ability of the Trinity post players, and maybe we saw that deficiency there. He really got spun down low by Nickel, who's always tough to handle. He really showed his quality that time as the Mountaineers step out of bounds, turn it back over to Trinity.
And you get to see just how deep this Trinity roster goes. Nickel going scoreless against Southwestern, scoring just 2 points last time they played Schreiner, but already immediately off the bench gets in the point column. You never know who it'll be on any given night with this Trinity team. And so Nickel making a case early to be that guy.
There's Harvey getting it to Nickel inside. He's able to catch it and dish it out to Brown. Trinity moving the Mountaineers all around the court here, and Harvey's going to get a look from 3, and that one rains down. Ball movement leading to 3 points there for Trinity, who've got another 7-0 lead, 7-0 run, to their name. And Clark nearly came up with another steal. Last touch off him, Mountaineers ball. Lippman able to kick that one out of play. Bronson Evans been a key contributor for the Mountaineers, the junior out of Houston. Played off the bench every game except the earlier matchup with Trinity this season, where he put 20 and 9 on a very efficient 8 of 13. See if he can bring some emphasis off the bench as Brown gets to the cup and gets a kind bounce off the heel of the rim. And Trinity break the 20-point mark already. Schreiner's still stuck at just 5. Nickel called for a reach there as Evans caught it at the free throw line.
Yeah, and Schreiner just will not be able to keep turning the ball over and hang in this game. It'll be next to impossible to stop this prolific Trinity offense. They rank first in the SCAC, 25th in all of Division III in points per game, nearly 85, and they've scored 100 several times. So if they're going to give them easy looks with no one in front of them, the Mountaineers are going to have a long night.
To your point, already 8 points off of turnovers for Trinity. De Hoyos looks for a three-pointer here, and that's a big bucket to end the drought of almost 3 minutes for the Mountaineers. That's their first make from the outside. As Coach El Rakabawi's chopped and changed his lineup. It's been De Hoyos who's stayed out there the entire time so far. He plays over 34 minutes a night, and they really depend on him for all things on the court. That's a really nice floater that time for Cervantes. Schreiner into double figures now. Lippman fighting to keep it from Cervantes, and here's Jacob Harvey from the same spot. That one just too strong. And now the Mountaineers looking to run it. Here's Evans in the open court, out to Cervantes from 3, and that one rattles all the way around and off the rim. Last touch off Marquez. Couldn't secure it that time. Take a quick timeout here to catch our breath as Trinity have come out on fire. And the entire gym loving what they're seeing so far. 21-10 is the Tiger lead, and we'll be right back for the rest of the first half in just a moment. Trinity is shooting 9 of 19 so far in this game for 21 points, including 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. For Schreiner, just 29% at the moment, and 5 less shots, 4 of 14 from the floor. Those 5 turnovers really hurting them. They've got the ball here under the basket. De Hoyos calling for it way out, and they don't find him. They don't find anybody in maroon as Jenkins has it going the other way. Trying to evade the contact that time from De Hoyos, who did enough to put off Caleb Jenkins. Speaking of SCAC MVPs, of course, he was given that honor after the shortened spring season. This may be a clock-related stoppage. We'll see. De Hoyos finally does go to the bench. This will be a real opportunity for Trinity to go on another run. And they're going to want to take a look at something here. So we'll head into a quick stoppage for an official review. We'll take you through some of the early scoring action. Seiki has 4 points. Jenkins with 3. Brown with 2 points, 2 boards. AJ Clark with 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists already. Marquez 4 points on a perfect 2 of 2. Jacob Harvey with a big 3-pointer, and David Nickel, the nice left-handed layup. On the other side, nobody with more than 1 make so far. De Hoyos had the 1 3-pointer and an assist to go with it. Reed, Ross, and Cervantes all have a 2-point basket to their name. We'll see what they're looking at here. I think it's going to be that push on Caleb Jenkins from Bloom. As they continue to run it, maybe worried about something from Lippman. Didn't see a lot in either incident, Brian. Anything on your end?
In these situations, we've seen the clock just not start or reset after a possession change, so that could have been it. Maybe it shouldn't have or should have. Currently at 18 seconds, so if it was a change of possession and then Trinity getting it back, then it would be a new 30.
Luke, what are you seeing down on the floor? Just heard from Luke, sorry if you couldn't hear, that they're checking indeed to see if it was rebounded by Schreiner and if it changed possession or not, and therefore if it needs to be at 20, if it needs to be back at 28, where it was when Lippman first touched it. As it stands, the shot clock is at 18. And we'll see what adjustment they make as both teams have now retaken the court. 12 to shoot is the final ruling, and Trinity ball side out.
Official still talking about something.
Marquez chatting it out with an official on the other side.
And then when the music comes back on, you know they're expecting some more time.
Feels like all this is doing is stopping the Trinity momentum that they have built over the opening 9 minutes of this game. It'll be up to them and up to this Trinity crowd to get things going back at that same energy level here as we're finally back playing. Lippman now to Jenkins. Here's Marquez on the free throw line. That one tapped away from him and out to Jenkins for 3. And clings off the iron. And the rebound claimed by Bronson Evans. Good for almost 7 a game off the bench. Schreiner with a lot of guys that can get it done on the boards. That time Evans had a decent look, no good.
And it'll be so important for Trinity to keep their foot on the pedal as Jenkins gets it to Marquez, whose layup just goes out. But against Schreiner earlier this year, they did lead by as many as 13. Looked like they were going to have a comfortable big victory, but the Mountaineers came storming back and actually forced that game into overtime before the Tigers did win comfortably in that extra period. But plenty of game in this one. Mountaineers down just 11, even with the hot start from the Tigers. And we've seen them go on big runs and then in big lulls. We saw that against Centenary when they lost a 17-point lead. So important for them to keep that same energy from the first 10 minutes in the remaining 30.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of a different substitution pattern and rotation from Coach Smith. He's talked to us about continuing to fine-tune that throughout the season. So it looks like he's trying to have one or two of the starters out there at all times. And that'll hopefully keep the energy up throughout the game, as that's a really nice finish for Jalen Ned inside, able to evade the pressure from Lippman. Put it up and good for 2 points. 7-0 run for Schreiner over the last 2 minutes, and De Hoyos is back on the floor, as they did well even with him on the bench. Seiki steps into a three-pointer, no good. Marquez with the putback opportunity. And that wasn't good. Seiki called for something away from the play, and he'll have to go to the bench now with 2 fouls.
And Schreiner now with a 7-0 run, so getting themselves right back into it. But that substitution pattern you're talking about, Ryan, Coach Smith mentioning that it's clear as day that his guys do their best when they're fresh and they can run around defensively especially. And so even if they're on a long run, he has to keep guys fresh, bring them in off the bench. So a part of that, not just keeping starters in at many times, but just keeping guys out there who are new.
And it turns out it was a flop warning on Seiki, which was interesting considering how far away from the play he was. That time he'll be called for a travel. Frustrating 2 trips down the floor, and Coach Smith looks over to him, just keep your head, Enzo. We're still in control of this game. Over the last 7, though, from the floor for Trinity, and a 7-0 run for Schreiner. This game was 21-5 heading into that second media timeout. And between that and the stoppage, checking the clock, Trinity looking to rediscover that momentum. Jenkins called for his second foul. And Schreiner will be shooting a 1-and-1 on the next foul from the Tigers. De Hoyos nearly put up a triple-double against Trinity, 27, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. That is unprecedented in terms of packing the stat sheet, as Jenkins rips that one away. Another steal for the SCAC MVP, and Harvey's fouled at the other end by De Hoyos.
And that just speaks to De Hoyos and how he does so well in many facets of the game, leading the SCAC in steals and assists and minutes, playing as much as he does, like you mentioned earlier. A lot of these Schreiner guys getting over 30 minutes. In their last game against Dallas, they had several guys over 33 of them, in fact. And so could be tired, and going against this Trinity team that is running all game long could be something that comes in at the end. Definitely nothing like Trinity's rotation that gets sometimes up to 15 guys in there.
Yeah, to your point, 23 guys seeing action in the last game for Coach Smith, as Harvey finally puts an end to the scoring run for Schreiner with a perfect trip to the free throw line. And De Hoyos immediately up and looking for 2 at the other end. No good that time off his left hand. And a great feed from Clark into the post for Seiki, and the foot slid again, that time for Enzo Seiki. Second turnover in just a minute or so. Checking the stat sheet now, Jenkins has 3 steals, Clark has 1, Lippman has 2. The hands have been active on defense, and the Mountaineers at times just being caught unaware. That's the type of energy that the Tigers are bringing defensively. That three-pointer no good for Jackson Reed, who's back into the game.
The turnovers have definitely been as a result of Trinity's defense, not really Schreiner being careless with the basketball. The hands just right there all the time.
Jenkins brings this one up. Hands off to A.J. Clark. It's matched up with Gibson. We go into Seiki here in the high post. Now looking to make his move inside, and he's just too strong there against 3 Schreiner defenders. And another conversation about the shot clock. Enzo Seiki had a couple frustrating trips down the floor. Maybe got away with another little bit of foot movement on that one, but it was disguised by how many defenders were around him. He's still able to finish despite the attention of pretty much the entire Mountaineer squad.
And Seiki, when going up to Kerrville to face these Mountaineers, had quite the game, a career-high 33 points. So you know he's happy to see Schreiner.
And De Hoyos with 2 points and a quick steal. And a heads-up play from Jalen Ned to grab the ball and avoid the travel. So you get a look at this finish from Enzo Seiki. Defenders all around him, all over him, and they couldn't stop him. Despite that, though, Trinity just 1 of 8 from the floor over the last couple of minutes. They lead 25-14. And this will be the media timeout as we are under 8 minutes to go in the half. We'll take it with them, and we'll be right back on the Tiger Network. We come out of the media timeout with Trinity in front, 25-14. We've got Luke Terry down on the floor. And Luke, not something we're used to seeing, a flop warning going both ways already in this game.
What everything means. These two teams tied in the SCAC standings at the moment, both of them coming out and playing incredibly hard, but I'm sure that the refs are just aware of that, calling this one tight.
Thank you very much, Luke. The energy of this game manifesting itself in a multitude of different ways, and the referees always, of course, tasked with trying to figure out how to manage that. As De Hoyos has it now at the other end for Schreiner. Tough floater in the lane. That one, an ill-advised attempt from the experienced guard. Jenkins able to wrestle away the rebound, and Harvey going the other way has his shot blocked by Jalen Ned, who was able to rush back in time.
And the energy also clear in the stands, one of the bigger Trinity crowds we've seen, but also a big contingent of Mountaineers fans coming down from Kerrville as A.J. Clark knocks down that 3 in the corner. Not only is Kerrville just about an hour away from San Antonio, but plenty of local guys on this Schreiner roster. A couple of first years from Steele High School in Ross and Cervantes. And there is Ross.
Going to be heading to the line here for 2 shots. Clark called for a foul. He's had a perfect start shooting the ball from the outside. 6 points on 2 for 4, 4 boards and 2 assists. You got to think A.J. Clark going to take pride in this matchup against De Hoyos, who's one of the best point guards in the conference, and they're going to frequently match up against each other. We know A.J. Clark's quality, and Coach Smith has spoke glowingly of him throughout the season, as he has with all the seniors. And he reiterated that with us even before this game after senior night was such a success on Sunday.
Yeah, and I got to be on the court a little bit during warm-ups, and you could just tell both sides were coming into this game really wanting to beat one another. These teams respect each other, but they also want to beat each other.
De Hoyos with a steal and looking to turn it into an assist. Ross was unable to finish, and on the putback, going to send Jalen Ned to the free throw line. Trying to cut into a 13-point Trinity lead. Some of that respect, Brian, stemming from Coach Smith and his coaching history all across the conference.
That's right. His first ever head coaching job was with Schreiner back in 2012 through 2014. He turned around the Mountaineer program, really kick-started the spot that they're in now, got them their first ever winning season as a D3 basketball program, and now look where they're at. They had their first NCAA tournament appearance just a few years ago, a conference championship, and right here, battling right with Trinity for the 2nd seed, maybe even the 1st seed in the conference.
Very much a 3-horse race at the top. And St. Thomas holding a 1-game lead as it stands, still 2 games to play. Trinity will face off against Dallas up in Irving to conclude the season on Sunday. As Lippman calling for it here, immediately fires it over to Tanner Brown. And now here's Enzo Seiki. Hands off to Lippman. Single digits on the shot clock, and Lippman looking for a cutting Tanner Brown. That one knocked away. And De Hoyos putting the pressure on Trinity, getting inside and left all alone for the elbow jumper. Offensive rebound is secured by Bloom. And now it's with De Hoyos once again.
Tigers did a great job initially stopping De Hoyos before allowing that open jump shot. Now just allowing a 2nd opportunity.
And Gibson looking to take advantage, and he does with a kind roll off the rim late in the shot clock. Back to a 10-point game as Griffin Levine's in for the first time, and David Nichols set to come back in as well, I believe. A.J. Clark cutting through. Not going to get it this time. Nor is Tanner Brown as Seiki goes to work inside. It's his defender up in the air, and Camden Ross picks up the foul. Seiki heading to the line.
And that's the matchup we were looking at coming into this game. The experienced Seiki against the 1st-year Ross. Didn't see much of it when these teams faced off in Kerrville, but Seiki using his experience, being patient with the ball, and earning the trip to the line.
You're hearing from Luke that Levine's getting some minutes here just because there was a little bit of confusion about how many fouls Jenkins has. He only has 2. The bench worried that he had already picked up an early 3rd foul. So we may see him quickly back into this game in just a moment. First free throw was good for Seiki. He's looking for his 8th point here with the 2nd, and he has it. As Jack Williams is in for the first time to replace Seiki. He's played 12 minutes so far of this game.
And Levine certainly a worthy replacement, scoring 7 points against Southwestern, but also someone that averaged over 20 points last year as he transferred from Pratt Institute in New York. So he's someone who, if he gets going, can put up a lot of points in a hurry.
Second chance opportunity, but Schreiner can't take it. Marquez tips the rebound to Levine. And now Clark with a good feed underneath for Williams. Tried to catch that one on the jump stop. Called for a travel that time. Here's De Hoyos now into the front court. Picked up his dribble and needs help from a teammate here. And jumper from inside the foul line is no good. Here's Tanner Brown at the other end. De Hoyos picks up a foul. And that's his 3rd, which is huge for the outlook of this game. See if we can maybe get a look at that one again. It's got Tanner Brown on the line here for 2 shots. See if De Hoyos is comfortable playing in foul trouble. Looks like they've already taken him off here, and we'll get a quick look at it before returning to the live action. Definitely some contact on the offhand of Tanner Brown. De Hoyos, of course, not a fan of the calls. It's going to probably bring his half to an early end. That time, Trinity fans calling for the travel, not given against Cervantes, and it results in 2 points for Ross on the inside.
Yeah, and the Steel Knight connection visible there with Cervantes and Ross. Definitely saw a couple of travel opportunities that weren't called. Interesting that Trinity's been called for few.
Yes, Jack Williams drops in a big 3-pointer off the bench for the Tigers. They've hit their last 3 shots from the floor to push this one back out to a 15-point lead. Able to respond at the other end. Bronson Evans with a good finish. And now Clark for the cutting Levine. Marquez catches it inside and able to get the shot up and get a trip to the free throw line. 2 looks from the charity stripe. When we come back, heading into the final media timeout of the first half, Trinity in front, 35-22. We return to the action here for 2 free throws for Mick Marquez. He's got 4 points and 4 rebounds in 10 minutes so far in this game. Williams with a big 3-pointer before the timeout as well, as Marquez no good with the first free throw. Shot 56% from the line this season. Ashton Owens is in for the first time. Number 4 for the Tigers. Sophomore out of Trinity, Alabama. Marquez comes up empty with that trip to the line. And Evans dishes this one for a big 3-pointer as Darian Gibson steps into it. So that is answered by Owens at the other end. That one rolls all the way around and then falls off the rim. Trinity trying to go blow for blow there. Still hold the 10-point lead. 3.5 to play here in the first 20 minutes. There's an open look for Jackson Reed, and he's going to make those. One of the top 3-point shooters in the SCAC, and he's used to shooting a lot, as at the other end, Owens able to answer with 2 points. Now the referee's pointing over with an accusatory glance out towards the Trinity bench. And Jackson Reed still down just in front of the Trinity bench. And the Mountaineers not happy that play continued, as he's now helped back over to his bench. Didn't catch it in real time. He got injured making that 3-pointer. He's missed a few games this season, but he's been the most consistent shooter from the outside for the Mountaineers, so if he's unable to continue, see what Luke Terry's seeing down on the floor. Luke?
Yeah, Ryan, it looked like Reed came down on the foot of a Trinity Tiger. He texted you earlier in the game that Reed was on the sideline, running back and forth, trying to get that ankle loosened up. He has tape on one of those ankles already, so although he limped really heavily back to the bench, we'll see if the training staff can get him back into the game today.
Thanks for that insight, Luke, as Cervantes went for a no-look alley-oop lob. And that one ends up out of bounds. Trinity fans and the bench alike really frustrated with the lack of a travel call. Once again, that trip down the floor. Trinity have turned it over a few times from travels. The turnover numbers basically leveled out now. Levine with an open look for 3, and he makes that one. Both teams picking it up, making 5 of their last 5, and the Mountaineers 4 of their last 4. Gibson hands off to Cervantes, and the entry pass batted away. Owens out and running. Gets it back to A.J. Clark, who's got to avoid committing the charge. And in doing so, he took away his shot, but Owens back in time, sprinting up and down the floor, and now a wide open look from A.J. Clark for three. And after a hot shooting start, Clark couldn't get that one to go.
Yeah, if you didn't believe us when we said the pace would be a flurry, here you are seeing it, and so much so that after that three from Reed, we just assumed that it was normal how quickly Owens and the Tigers went the other way. Couldn't even tell that the Mountaineers were missing a player, but just incredible the pace at which these two teams are playing, and it doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon either.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Trinity almost never playing 5 against 5 on offense. It's always, +1 or 4 against 4 fast break opportunities. Coach Smith citing that as their biggest strength, something they've curated since he's come in. 11 to shoot, now 10 for the Mountaineers, as Seiki takes that one in the chest, and he's called for a block. Camden Ross will head to the free throw line.
We'll see the replay right here on it. I thought at first glance that Ross kind of pushed off with the off arm. Couldn't totally tell from that angle. Nonetheless, that matchup continues to be one to watch.
Without a doubt. Maybe Seiki called for just sliding over a little bit too late that time as Ross gets the first free throw to go. Get another look at it. If it was an offensive out from Camden Ross, and you could make the case it was, you definitely disguised it well, and Seiki wasn't fully set. As Clark throws this one out ahead to Williams, who's able to avoid traveling this time, but then fired it out of bounds. Owens claiming a tip off the Mountaineers. It'll be maroon ball going the other way. Trinity now in the double figures for a turnover, joining the Mountaineers, who have 11 of their own. Seiki heads back to the bench, picking up that second foul moments ago.
And a minute 30 remaining here, and we've seen Coach Smith often take timeouts with under a minute left in the first half, knowing how important it is to close out on a high note. So this could swing things one way or the other. Schreiner getting a nice bucket there with Evans. It feels like Schreiner's just hanging in there. It'll be so important to see if Trinity can deliver a blow or if they can hang in there as well going into the locker room.
Great ball movement, finds Owens open from the far side. And that one rattles out. Owens had a couple of good looks, now 0 for 2 here in the first half. A minute to play as Evans catches it inside the lane. Really good finish with the right hand. And when that one goes in, you hear the amount of Schreiner fans who have made the trip. And now you hear them even louder as Owens throws it away. Schreiner's back within 7. They've made their last 6 from the floor. And they're looking back to Coach El Rocabawe, see what he wants with De Hoyos in foul trouble. It's Cervantes running the offense, and his floater goes halfway down and out. Trinity in a 2-minute scoring drought. The Mountaineers are right back in this game. Coach Smith going to turn to a very offensive-oriented lineup for the final possession here in the first half. As it was Littman, Harvey, and Brown set to all come back into the game to finish off this opening frame.
I believe this is the 3rd consecutive game that we've called here in which Coach Smith calls a timeout with under a minute left in the first half, wanting to draw up a play here. We've seen it when he wants to go 2 for 1, usually with around 40 seconds left. But here, seeing this last possession is so crucial. Could extend it out to double digits, or very well, if Tigers turn it over, go the other way, could be down to 5 or 4. So just goes to show that swing that could happen here.
Yeah, and if nothing else, a lot of times they haven't had the opportunity to run these set plays out of timeouts late in games. So getting reps, the X's and O's on the whiteboard for Coach Smith, equally as important as we head down the stretch towards the postseason. 18 to shoot. A.J. Clark has it. He's matched up against Mackey. Back with him now. 12 to shoot. Just a few tenths between the shot and game clock as Harvey gets up the 3 and out of the timeout. It's exactly what they dialed up. 3 points for Trinity as Harvey, as we've become so accustomed to seeing, making the big shots. The heave at the buzzer, no good for Darian Gibson. Trinity, who held a double-digit lead throughout the first half, take a 10-point advantage into the break. Brian, your concluding thoughts on what was an excellent display between the second and third place teams in the conference?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, if calling a timeout leads to an open Jacob Harvey 3, I'd call a timeout as many times as I can. But no, this has been exactly what we expected, a really energetic, exciting game. Trinity has been ahead most of the time, but you can feel Schreiner right there. They're ready to pounce if Trinity lets off the gas at any point. So I think it's going to be an excellent second half. I'd be looking for the energy from the Tigers if they're able to keep that pace, able to keep the guys fresh. And so I think that would be the biggest adjustment, is just maintaining those rotations. And then for Schreiner, really seeing if De Hoyos is going to be able to play a lot of the second half. He has those 3 fouls, had to sit at the end of the first half, so he is such a key piece of their offense that he has to be at the center of it if they're going to make this comeback.
Great points, Brian. Another point for the Mountaineers, just 4 of 11 at the foul line, and that's very uncharacteristic of them. They're one of the best teams in terms of free throw percentage in the entire conference, and they haven't got it done there so far. Trinity responding with 7 of 10 on their trips to the line, so definitely contributing to a 10-point lead for the Tigers, who are backed by a beautiful home crowd here in CalGuard Gym. You got to look at plenty of the fans, the students all gathered there. Most of the Trinity men's soccer team out supporting, and that's great to see. We've got 13 minutes until we're back underway here in CalGuard Gym. A first-round bye is, for all intents and purposes, on the line, and Trinity hold the lead 43-33. 20 minutes down, 20 to go here in CalGuard Gym, and Trinity had the better of the first half, a 43-33 advantage. Pushed out as far as 15 at times. Schreiner able to get it back to just 10. And crucially, Brian, De Hoyos back out on the floor for them to start the second half. He had to sit with foul trouble throughout.
Yeah, he does have those 3 personal fouls. That was confirmed, and sitting at just 5 points, no rebounds, and 1 assist for the leader in the conference. Pretty shocking numbers in the first half for the senior, but we know he probably wants to get back out there and correct that. And these Mountaineers, no stranger to comebacks. They have been trailing by as many as 9 in their past 2 games. They came back and beat Dallas, and then came back and beat Austin College on a buzzer beater. So they know what it's like to be down, and they know what it's like to win close games. So definitely nothing to take for granted with this 10-point lead.
Immediately, De Hoyos on the feed to Camden Ross on the inside. Trinity did a good job controlling him in terms of rebounds in the first half, but he's got a basket to start here in the second. And the Mountaineers have a steal. Gibson pushing it the other way. De Hoyos with the 3 up and no good off the front of the rim. And Tanner Brown's out running ahead of the play. A.J. Clark's pass hit him in the back of the leg. And that's most likely 2 points wiped away for Trinity, as Brown had nobody between him and the basket.
Just an instance of going a little too quickly.
De Hoyos, the good skip pass as Mountaineers move it here. And the 3-pointer way off that time for Gibson. Let the putback.
Looks like someone in the stands taking a picture with Flash. The official making sure to address that.
Good eye. Not the first time that we've had a nice swing of momentum immediately brought to a halt by something we aren't immediately aware of, like the shot clock in the first half.
I've got to say though, Ryan, and I know we've talked about it so many times, but it's so worth repeating. We'd much rather have stoppage of time because there's something in the stands than have no one in the stands like we did all last year. It's just so incredible to have fans back, and the energy they've provided already is sure to only get better as this second half goes on.
Yeah, absolutely, and to have the dynamic as Enzo Seiki steps into a 3-pointer, and that one splashes down. Seiki up to 11 points right away here in the second half. To have the dynamic between the away fans and the home fans, always going to be a lot of fun, a lot of intensity to this game as well, as Marquez trying to grab the rebound, tips this one out of play. It'll be 20 to shoot for the Mountaineers.
That is what's so nice about the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. You have so many teams close to one another with TLU and Schreiner, Southwestern, Trinity, all nearby. Add a couple of teams a little farther out, but you still get that dynamic of real rivalries within the region and in the state.
Marquez says no, sir, at the rim, but Gibson gets the rebound, and he gets 2 and the chance at 1 more. If at first you don't succeed, Darian Gibson, junior out of Houston, Texas. In his first year with the Mountaineers, transfer from Texas A&M International. Coming off a career-high 27 points and 6 rebounds on 10 of 17 shooting. And he actually had the highest plus-minus value of any Mountaineer in the first half, so he's continued to play well for Coach El Rakavali.
Gibson, one of the keys that Coach Smith pointed to as to why the Mountaineers have improved from that 2-9 start, him transferring, not really adjusting to the conference quite yet. Add that to the fact that the Mountaineers have several first years contributing to their team. Everybody was just trying to get adjusted to college basketball, but now that they've settled in, you see what it's resulted in, 11-1 in their last 12 games.
Jenkins now has picked up his 3rd personal foul. There was concern that he had in the first half. Eventually that was confirmed with the Trinity bench that he just had 2, but tripped up De Hoyos that time, and now he's gonna have to play with some caution. That's something he likes to do. He's all energy all the time. Seiki able to grab the rebound off the miss, and Trinity out and running, and Jenkins to the cup, turned away by De Hoyos. He's able to dribble away with the ball, And finds Bloom, who steps into a three-pointer. That one was online, but too strong. And Jenkins has the long rebound. Jenkins splits the double team. His pass to Clark tipped on the way through. Clark now on the drive. And the whistle goes, I believe, against Ned. Tried to swipe it from Trinity's senior guard.
A good job there by Jenkins the second time, driving and then kicking to A.J. Clark before drawing the foul. On the previous possession, you saw Jenkins attack the basket. He had Brown behind him open for the three, decided to drive and met a wall there.
This time it's Jenkins open for the three, and that one rains down. Trinity shooting it well here to start the second half. 44% from the outside in the game. And correction is that Ross was the one that picked up the foul. Now he's playing with three as well, so two of the important contributors for the Mountaineers out there in foul trouble. Ross looking to dish that one to Ned, who was cutting up the baseline. And it was cut out on its way. And here's Tanner Brown for three, and that one went way down and out. And Marquez is called for a foul as he was fighting for the offensive rebound. Brown so close to putting it back into double figures. He'll head back to the bench now as he's replaced by Harvey. And Nickel replaces Marquez, who just grabbed his second foul. 9 points is the Trinity lead. They were up by 10 at the break. Schreiner looking to cut into it here. That one too strong from Jalen Ned, native of New Orleans, Louisiana. Here's Trinity's own Caleb Jenkins from New Orleans, Louisiana. Down with Nickel in the post. It's it outside for Seiki, and that one is up and good as the officials swallow the whistle. De Hoyos trying to draw the contact, and he has to be careful. We already talked about the flopping warning going against both teams in the first half. Something to keep an eye on as De Hoyos went to ground that time trying to draw the charge.
Yeah, not just the flopping, but if he would have drawn the blocking foul, that going against him as well would have been number 4. So all sorts of things to be aware of if you're De Hoyos.
Good athletic finish that time for Jalen Ned. And here's Jenkins looking to splash down another three, and he does. 2 quick three-pointers for Jenkins, who's up to 9 in the game. The lead is back up to 12. De Hoyos past Harvey, immediately met by Caleb Jenkins. Nickel, some strong defense in the post. He's called for a reaching foul. He's now got 4 fouls. So a multitude of players on both sides dealing with foul trouble, and we've still got over 15 minutes to go. And Trinity cheerleaders leading the crowd here. Trinity leading the game 54-42. We'll be right back after the media timeout. Welcome you back here. 15:21 to go in the game. And Luke Terry, you had a chance to catch up with coaches on both sides. What are you hearing from the two benches?
Yeah, Ryan, coming out of the half, I talked to both coaches. For Schreiner, the biggest emphasis at halftime was their turnovers. 11 in that first half allowed for 13 points off turnovers for the Tigers. And for the Trinity coaching staff, they were happy with the performance in that first half. But again, they also brought up turnovers, 10 for the Tigers in the period. But as they get started here in the second half, they feel comfortable with the way that they found shooters in that first period and the way that they limited the Mountaineers to just one possession offensively. Back to y'all.
Thank you very much, Luke. Seiki called for a dead ball foul and had to be careful that time as Camden Ross grabbed 2 points for the Mountaineers. Fouls racking up on both sides. And that'll be a point of emphasis, I'm sure, for the coaching staffs as well, as Seiki got a second chance at it, getting his own miss, had a third chance at it. And that third shot will be wiped away for a foul on the floor.
Really fascinating to see that possession because the two guys nearest Seiki were De Hoyos and Ross, who each have 3 fouls, as we've mentioned already. And you could see the hesitation to even guard Seiki, but then he was just unable to capitalize on those couple of possessions, almost shocked by how much room he had down there, typically facing so much contact. There is some contact.
Taking the contact that time from Evans, who's not one of the ones in foul trouble. He's been the one doing the work on the boards. 10 rebounds already, and he had all of those in the first half. Seiki leads that metric for Trinity, as well as leading in scoring with 13 points and 8 boards. Harvey makes the first free throw. Still a big disparity in terms of free throw percentage. Schreiner just at 42% in the game, and that's really not going to win you any game. Trinity right around their season average, 73% on the day, as Harvey makes the second as well. 4 for 4 from the charity stripe for him. Nickel has to be careful playing with 4 fouls, 1 away from being disqualified. Coach Smith sticking with them as Jenkins puts this one out in front of Littman to go and chase. Littman matched up with De Hoyos. Trinity going to try and go at Alex De Hoyos and force him to commit the foul. Jenkins was feeling it from deep. And his 3-pointer's off the mark. That time it's Nickel drawing the foul, as he and Harvey are working to grab the offensive rebound. And we ball out of bounds here for Trinity. Wendell Roberts in for the first time.
Want to mention that foul going against Jackson Reed, but it is nice to see Reed in there. We saw him limp off the court in the first half. Didn't know if he was going to be back out there, so headed back to the bench after Abdullah Roberts knocks down that 3. But good to see that nothing was too wrong there with Reed.
Abdullah Roberts with his first involvement of the game, knocking down that 3, just dropping in off the front of the rim. Locked and loaded, ready coming off the bench. As Trinity get the stop at the other end, the lead is 15. Littman's looking to add to it. He's got it back here from Jenkins. Here is Caleb Jenkins as Littman takes a big bump underneath Bronson Evans. I mentioned wasn't in foul trouble. Now he's quickly joined his teammates with 3 fouls. And that one, senseless, really. Didn't need to be done. So now you could argue the 3 most important contributors for the Mountaineers, all with 3 fouls. 3, not really a problem at this point, but 4 would be a huge issue for Coach El Rockabawi, as Trinity get their signals crossed, and it's going to be an easy 2 points and a slam dunk at the other end for Camden Ross. Definitely not used to seeing Trinity making that level of elementary mistake. As Nickel and Jenkins stayed behind, arguing about what went wrong there. Still a 13-point game, but that slam dunk bringing the Schreiner crowd back into it. Here's Nickel trying to work with Jenkins. Gets away from the Trinity big man. And Jenkins with a big block at the other end. And now the Trinity crowd looking to respond as Littman's fouled by De Hoyos, who's now got 4. What a huge sequence in this game. Felt like if Schreiner kept the momentum from that dunk going, they might have their way back into it. Instead, Jenkins gets back, gets a huge block, and now De Hoyos is headed back to the bench.
You've got the smallest guy out on the court in Jenkins getting the huge block, and then the other way putting just extreme pressure on the best player for the Mountaineers.
Trinity hit the 60-point mark now, up 14. And in the bonus the rest of the way. De Hoyos to the bench. No, he stayed in here with 4 fouls. He's just at the other end, hanging out in front of the Schreiner bench. It's Cervantes who will handle the ball, bringing it up the court here. De Hoyos catches it in the corner. Roberts looking to defend him. Roberts gets caught up in the air, and De Hoyos' floater rims out. Nickel able to grab the rebound, and it's even numbers going the other way. Tanner Brown trailing Abdullah Roberts, who finds Nickel underneath for an easy 2. Abdullah Roberts with a big impact off the bench here since the last time out. Immediately made the 3, grabs that assist as well, and he's been playing good defense against De Hoyos, who gets to the rim this time, and the foul. And that'll be the game for David Nickel. The 2 players, each with 4 fouls, coming together under the Trinity basket, and Nickel's game comes to an end. He's only played 8 minutes. He's got 4 big points and 2 rebounds. That'll be the part he's played in this one.
That'll also be the final time he plays here at CalGuard Gym, unless this Tigers team manages to host a regional for the senior. It's been a great career here in San Antonio that ends on a note that is fitting for him, always energetic and bringing the passion to the Tigers.
And he'll certainly continue to do that, even though he won't be back out on the hardwood for the rest of this game. So good at leading the charge from the bench. De Hoyos being made to wait here as the floor is wiped up. Chance at completing the 3-point play. And that one looked like it was going to rim out, but find a kind bounce off the rim. Marquez back in to replace David Nickel. Seki continues to rest. Harvey sets the screen, now wants it from Littman. Littman thinking about trying to isolate De Hoyos, 1 versus 1. Here's Roberts. Marquez sets the screen. Littman cuts to the basket. Movement all around Abdullah Roberts, who raises up and fires the turnaround jumper, no good. And gets his own rebound. And Trinity have another chance, 20 to shoot.
You can see Marquez battling with Ross, trying to get that matchup, maybe force some action, get his 4th foul.
Now 5 to shoot. Roberts kicks it out to Tanner Brown, and that one is up and off the rim. Trinity fight for the offensive board again, and Harvey comes away with it. The Tigers beating Schreiner at their own game, cleaning the glass here, and they'll get a 3rd look this trip down the floor. Here's Littman. Marquez posting up down low. He's got 2 defenders there to meet him. He's got Tanner Brown trailing him, and that one drops in from Tanner Brown as the Tigers finally make good on their 3rd attempt. And Schreiner throw it away. The momentum all with Trinity as Ben Hanley, who's out for today's game with his ankle injury, and is first off the bench to come and greet his teammates. Didn't feel like a lineup that Coach Smith really wanted to be out there together, forced by the fouling out of Nickel, but they finally got it done on the 3rd opportunity. Those effort plays coming up huge for the Tigers there, Brian.
And I can't help but think off of that possession, Coach Smith joking with us before the game that Camden Ross had 10 offensive rebounds, not even just general rebounds, offensive rebounds in this last game against Dallas, and joking that Trinity doesn't even average 10 offensive rebounds as a team. But here we are, Trinity with 10 offensive rebounds, Ross with 0, and you see how important it played a role right there. 3 opportunities, and the Tigers finally knocking it down on that last shot. Just incredible effort and hustle for these Tigers throughout this game. And it leads us to a YMCA during this timeout, and we know we all love that.
And we all love that. The feed from Marquez as he was double-teamed, falling down, and Brown with the awareness to come to his teammates' aid just in time. And, you know, if he had a couple more inches, maybe he would have gone for the big poster dunk there. Either way, the Trinity fans were loving it. Harvey's now joined Seki in double figures for the Tigers. Seki leads the way with 13 and 8. Harvey 10 points on 2 of 4 from behind the arc, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Jenkins with 9 points on 3 of 9. And the rest of the starters combining for 16 points between Brown, Clark, and Marquez. On the other side, Camden Ross leads the way for the Mountaineers with 12. De Hoyos been held to 8 so far in 23 minutes. He's playing with 4 fouls, as we've already continued to mention, but it's such an important element of this game that if you just check the final score at the end, you might not realize the limited role that he's been able to play in a team that he's led all season. He's really led them back from the wilderness of a 2-9 start, 11-1 since, including a big victory at the University of St. Thomas. Nobody else has been able to do that in the conference this season. And his role has been diminished today by foul trouble as Lippman loses that one late in the shot clock, and Schreiner out and running. A great jump stop catch for Camden Ross, and he'll head to the line for a chance to complete the three-point play.
And right now, De Hoyos is not out there. He is taking a break with those 4 fouls, so we'll see what kind of run the Mountaineers can put together without him. Such a catalyst for them, but a good start with Ross in the transition.
And Ross now up to 15 in the game as he completes the three-point play, and Seiki and Clark return to the game for Trinity. Seiki out on the wing. He'll be matched up with Ross. Marquez still out there as the 5 focal point of the Trinity offense. He sets the screen here for Jacob Harvey. Drives on his right hand. Layup no good. Marquez has to avoid fouling that time with Nico already out of the game. And Schreiner bring it down the other end. There's Mateus Bloom. Not a regular occurrence to see an international player in SCAC basketball, but Mateus Bloom hailing from Santa Maria, Brazil. He was held scoreless in the first matchup between these two teams. He's got 2 points in this game in 13 minutes.
Nothing says Brazil like a little soccer. We saw a kickball violation right there, so feeling right at home.
Joga bonito for all our Brazilian viewers. And good work on the inside as Ned able to find Gibson. Floater in the lane for 2 points. The lead is 11. As we are just about 3/4 of the way through the action here. On a fine Tuesday night at Calgard Gym. AJ Clark with the handles, and he gets to the cup. Can't finish, but it kind of has an alley-oop for Marquez, who grabs the rebound, puts it up for 2. Hear the crowd calling for defense here, looking to get a stop as Cervantes has it. Back now from Gibson. Pump fake. Not fooling Tanner Brown that time. Here's Camden Ross inside the lane. Marquez provides resistance, 4 to shoot. Cervantes fading away on the baseline, and they never draw iron. And now Seiki out and running in transition. Will back down his defender. Clark lays it back now for Tanner Brown for 3, and that one gets a little help from the backboard. Everything falling correctly right now for Trinity as Tanner Brown gets the big 3-pointer to go. His first make from the outside today. He's the most lethal 3-point shooter in the conference in the shortened 2021 season as Marquez turns away Gibson at the rim. And Seiki to the cup, finish with the left hand.
There is no place like home, Ryan, and the Tigers taking full advantage of knowing these rims. This homestand has been incredible for them, and finishing off on a high note here. It's been a great season, and they're trying to end it with their first 20-win season since 2013, and it looks like they are well on their way to that.
Just to finish the point on Tanner Brown, it hasn't always been his year. You know, he's had an entire month without making a 3-pointer. That was so uncharacteristic of what we saw from him last season. But he's increasingly started to make some big shots, similar to what Jacob Harvey has done for the team throughout the season. And he adds so much as well with his rebounding and his ability to make plays. As you see what this game means, the SCAC standings on your screen. These two teams not even close in terms of overall record, but what really matters in terms of seeding is going to be that conference record. Both teams at 11-3, chasing St. Thomas at 12-2. St. Thomas in action against the Bulldogs of TLU today. That'll have big implications if either of these teams has any hopes of claiming the regular season championship that Trinity took last year. That game has gone final with St. Thomas putting up 99 in the 99-90 victory against TLU. It seems like this will be the battle for second place, barring anything unexpected on the final day of the season.
And I think your point about Tanner Brown speaks to the Tigers at large as well. Early in December, late November, these Tigers were playing their best basketball, scoring 100 several times, just everything going their way. And Tanner Brown was a big part of that at one point, scoring over 20 points in 4 consecutive games, one of those coming in Kerrville against Schreiner. He hasn't scored 20 since that little run, but if he can get back to that type of output, these Tigers are going to be a scary team to face in Sherman at the SCAC tournament.
Jenkins gets up off the floor, and it's Marquez underneath the basket on the feed from A.J. Clark, and the timeout hasn't stemmed the tide of Trinity offense. And for Coach El Rockabawi, his only hope is to bring De Hoyos back off the bench despite the foul trouble, and he is now checked in at the scorer's table. Count and the foul for Jalen Ned. As Clark got all kinds of tangled up and into the wrong place, wrong time. And that'll put Schreiner into the bonus as well.
Student section sad to see both Cervantes head to the bench. They've enjoyed their interactions tonight, making him feel at home here in San Antonio. He is from Bulverde.
Jalen Ned able to complete the three-point play. 17-point lead for the Tigers. Marquez finds a wide open Jacob Harvey. The bench rises to their feet, and the three-pointer rised up high into the sky before rimming out. And Marquez unable to get the second shot up. And that time, Evans wasn't expecting it. He bobbled the pass, and Seiki out and running. Harvey able to clean the offensive glass. And Marquez on the trailer, and that one's good. Marquez up into double figures. What a performance from him, getting his second start of the season. Worked his way back from the outskirts of the Trinity roster as De Hoyos has another chance at a three-point play. There have been a few of them here for Schreiner. Marquez, we talked to Coach Smith and we talked about him on senior day. He was on the edges of the roster under the previous head coach, was a manager for the team in his first season, and now he's starting one of the most important games of the season, and he's got 10 points, 8 rebounds in 19 minutes. He's out there playing with 4 fouls. All the bigs have gotten into foul trouble today for Trinity, but he's doing his best, and he's putting up big numbers where Trinity need it.
Yeah, and last game, it was senior night, even though it wasn't the final home game of the year. And Coach Smith told us that he had been using this rotation of seniors in the starting lineup as a result of Ben Hanley being out with an ankle injury. Hanley still out tonight, getting closer to returning. But tonight, it is no senior honor. It is truly because Marquez has earned that spot in the starting lineup, and we can see why. I mean, he is approaching double-double territory in the biggest game of the year for the Tigers. Truly incredible what he has done.
Marquez has joined Harvey and Seiki in double digits for Trinity. Ross leads the way for Schreiner with 15. Evans has grabbed 11 boards. A.J. Clark quietly up to 9 assists in this game. Up against the assist leader in the conference. He's put on a show with his passing tonight, as De Hoyos has frequently been made to sit and watch from the bench. And he's got a chance at the line now to complete the three-point play. Those 2 points putting him in the double digits. He's 10 points on 4 of 9, 1 of 1 from the free throw line so far. Now 2 of 2 as he completes the three-point play. Free ball not really falling for Schreiner, who haven't turned to it here in the second half, but they've gotten a few three-point plays, 3 points the old-fashioned way. They look to try and build a way back into this game. A.J. Clark for 3. That one rims out. And Trinity continue to lead by 16. Here's De Hoyos into the lane. Nifty finish with the left hand. As Seiki was careful that time not to foul him. Williams is into the game alongside Jenkins, Seiki, Clark, and Brown for the Tigers. Here's Williams. As Clark cuts through the lane, Seiki will pull up for the mid-range jumper and a kind bounce off the front of the rim. 2 points to Enzo Seiki, up to 15 in the game.
And that little mid-range jump shot, so emblematic of the confidence Seiki has gained this year. Not hesitating at all, sees some open room and takes advantage of it for 2.
AJ Clark passing up the quick three, just wanting to slow it down a little bit here with the big lead. Seiki catches it here in the high post. Jenkins sets the screen inside the lane. Now the step back three from Caleb Jenkins. Pick and pop Caleb Jenkins, his 3rd three-pointer of the game. Usually it's the ball handler with the big setting the screen and maybe getting a mid-range shot, maybe a three-pointer. That time Caleb Jenkins says, I can do it all. I can do it just as good as the bigs.
And we said if Brown gets going, that'll be a great weapon. But if Caleb Jenkins returns to his SCAC MVP form, watch out in March.
Seiki with good interior defense that time. Camden Ross denied at the cup. And here's Caleb Jenkins, thought about stepping into another three. He really wanted to. You can see he passed that one up, knowing the situation, knowing the game state. Caleb Jenkins is a showman, and with such a crowd behind him, he wanted to give them another three-pointer to cheer on. Jackson Reed, who struggled with injuries throughout this game, is back in now. See what he can give the Mountaineers with 5:27 remaining in this game. Darian Gibson back in as well. And there's the three-pointer off the pick and pop from Caleb Jenkins. Really nice floater in the lane that time from De Hoyos. He's doing all he can right now. Got 5 minutes to play here. Jenkins with the ball in hand, 15 to shoot. Seiki decides to keep it. Hands off to Tanner Brown, who will call a timeout at the instruction of Coach Smith, who was right there ready and waiting. And we will take it with them. We got to catch our breath as well. Trinity leading the way 81-64 on a show here in CalGuard Gym. .454 to go in this game, as you see some shots of the crowd getting jiggy with it in the stands. Trinity in front, 81-64. And they've got the ball here with 10 to shoot. See what they draw up out of the timeout. Williams catches it. Brown cuts to the rim. It's not on. They're looking to match up De Hoyos in the post, but Jenkins will have to take it himself. And that one too strong, but Brown is right there, ready and waiting. Trinity leading Schreiner 13-10 in offensive rebounds. That was the strength for the Mountaineers coming in that Coach Smith talked about, and they've beaten them at their own game here today. It's been so impressive what the Tigers have done, just making all the effort plays, putting the energy to work, and channeling the energy within the gym into 83 points so far as Tanner Brown catches the alley-oop from Clark. That's his 10th assist of the game. He continues to orchestrate this Trinity offense.
And orchestrating a Trinity offense that has so many instruments to work with. you said it earlier perfectly, quietly getting to that mark are some of these players, and it just is because there's never one guy that takes over, and it never feels like they're starring in the game, and then you look up at the end and you have 4 guys in double digits like you had against Southwestern. So many guys contributing, so many guys doing their part, whether it's Clark with his assist, Brown with the offensive rebounds. You never know what you're going to see when you tune in to see the Tigers, and it just works so well when they're at their best.
Tanner Brown now up to 11 points with that layup, with 4 rebounds as well. Jenkins has 14 and 8. Seiki with 17 and 9. These rebound numbers a lot higher than some of the season averages for the Trinity players. They've been working hard, grabbing offensive boards, making it count for second chance points. Marquez also has 10, and so does Harvey off the Trinity bench. So all of the starters for the Tigers in double digits in some category, as Brown's now been corrected to 13 points. Seiki, Jenkins, and Brown, as well as Marquez, all with 10 or more points, and Clark with 10 or more assists. Everybody contributing, everybody grabbing rebounds. AJ Clark at plus 20, Seiki at plus 19, and Jacob Harvey off the bench at plus 27. Some of the standout performers in this game. Under 4 to go. Trinity have made 4 of their last 5 buckets. 85-66 is your score.
And Schreiner perhaps realizing what is ahead of them. No De Hoyos, no Ross here in these final 4 minutes. Still a game to play against Dallas for each of these teams.
As Williams hits the catch and shoot 3, everybody's involved in the scoring for the Tigers. Trinity following up a 20-point win on Senior Day on Sunday. Another big performance here. Got 22-point advantage as it stands with 3:22 to play, and it only seems to be trending one direction.
And I think we both expected a pretty close game. These were 2 teams that have been in close games all year long. Schreiner winning 4 of their games by fewer than 5 points. Trinity escaping Colorado with a victory, beating St. Thomas close here at home. So we expected a fight really to the end, but Trinity has done an outstanding job executing their game plan, doing what Coach Jimmy Smith wanted, and it results in this massive lead against a big rival, and now AJ Clark getting the crowd going with his handles.
AJ Clark grabbing the ankles that time as Jalen Ned lost his footing. And a take foul that time for Dylan Mackey. To see some young Trinity fans impressed with that move from AJ Clark. As the Mountaineers took that foul to get their substitutes into the game, we'll see the move from Clark in the backcourt, behind the back dribble, sent the defender sprawling. And the foul sent Caleb Jenkins to the line as he adds on to 12 points so far in the game. And De Hoyos will get another run here. Surprising to see. As Schreiner now trail by 23. Of course, still a lot to play for, a lot ahead of them in terms of one more regular season game and the SCAC championship, as that's a nice finish on the spin from Gibson. But without that first round bye, there's always the prospect of having to play 3 games in 3 days, something that Coach Smith wasn't excited about, trying to plan out if he had to, adjusting the rotations, giving guys shorter minutes.
And really just as important as the Mountaineers get a steal here, Camden Ross gets to try to finish it. Should have tried the dunk like he did earlier because that layup really not working for him there. But also important for the regular season standings, who finishes right behind St. Thomas, because St. Thomas still in year 3 of their NAIA to D3 transition. If they win the tournament, they will not go to the NCAA tournament. It will be the team with the highest seed behind them. So Trinity, if they can get this edge over Schreiner, has a little bit of a safety net almost, knowing that if St. Thomas does pull away with that tournament, they've got a spot in the NCAA tournament.
A little bit different than we saw in some of the fall sports. Basketball coaches choosing to adopt that structure. I think it's fair. In the regular season, playing everybody home and away, that's going to give you the best look at a team's quality.
Absolutely. This schedule where you go to each school and these teams play each other twice, you really get a good look and a good sense of what these teams are. Much better than a tournament that is just so gimmicky a lot of times.
Trinity able to advance it despite the pressure from the Mountaineers. Harvey on the feed to Seiki. Had way more time, I think, than he realized, and Jenkins caught Jalen Ned in a bad place, and he got 2 more points for himself. And for the team, Trinity up to 92 now in the game as Ned's fouled at the other end. We're under 2 to play.
Tigers have gotten to the century mark 3 times this season. Could we get a 4th? Schreiner knows all about teams putting up 100 on them here in San Antonio. Their women's team getting lit up for 122 just a week ago today. A school record for the Tiger women's team.
Hear me out, Brian. Maybe we just play all our games at home on Tuesday nights. It seems to have a little bit of something extra for these Trinity teams. Especially when the Mountaineers are in town. A.J. Clark, the full court pass to break the pressure. Jenkins just grabs that one ahead of Jalen Ned, who rushed back, put the pressure on him. Here's Harvey on the beautiful feed to Enzo Seiki. Jacob Harvey can do it all.
And I think on the other end of that, Ryan, Schreiner is going to make sure they do not come to San Antonio on a Tuesday night next year. Really has not worked out for him. We're just 6 points away from raising the question yet again about corn dogs, tacos. We have plenty of students who could really use them. We know on a college budget, everybody likes free food.
What a feed that time from Harvey, and Seiki's the one to benefit. Corn dogs. Corn dogs for all of these people, Brian.
I think these teams have earned it. They've shown plenty throughout the year, and in the final regular season home game, it's only fitting that you reward these fans for their great turnout.
He's got to look at David Nickel during the timeout, still encouraging his teammates, still pushing them on, despite fouling out early in the second half. Exactly what we expect to see from one of the senior leaders of this group. A three-pointer comes up short for Bloom. And Clark going to be hounded in the backcourt here and going to be fouled by Jalen Ned.
Ryan, as time winds down here at Calgar Gym, you see some seniors in there, Mason Roberts and Jack Williams joining Jordan Littman. Coach Smith reiterating to us today, even though he talked so much about it ahead of senior night, but he went out of his way to say it today. This senior class has meant so much to this program, could have easily handled the transition to a new coach in a much different way, but they welcomed him, they have set the way for the team, and really modeled what it is to be a Trinity Tiger. And they are about to get to 20 wins for the first time since 2013. Quite an accomplishment for Jimmy Smith and the Tigers. And this senior class that in their first 2 years had just 17 wins combined, and now they have 20 in 1 year.
A.J. Clark going to get another free throw here. Both of these teams will face Dallas to conclude their regular season slate. The Crusaders will travel to Kerrville to play Schreiner on Friday. That one tips off at 5:30. And then Trinity will play at the University of Dallas on Sunday to conclude their regular season. That one, the final regular season game across all of the SCAC. We'll see if it ends up with any significance in terms of seeding. Dallas fighting for their lives at the bottom of the standings as well. A pair of big games for them from their perspective coming up this weekend. Trinity's final game will tip off at 1 o'clock before we head to Sherman, Texas for the SCAC tournament the following weekend. And this performance here today setting up Trinity for success in the postseason as Littman's going to avoid committing the foul that time. And it's 2 points late in the game for Caldwell, who's getting his first action. Under a minute to go. Tigers just trying to take care of the ball this time. Here's Roberts inside the post. Roberts off the left hand, no good. Williams follows it up. Another putback basket for Trinity. Second chance opportunities really paying dividends for them, especially in the second half here. Slipman tries to jump into the passing lane. Caldwell can't finish at the rim, and Williams can go for 100 points here. Instead, looks like Coach Smith's going to take a timeout and get a round of applause for Williams, for Roberts, for Nickel, for all the Tigers seniors playing their final home game here at CalGuard Gym in SCAC action. Marquez waves goodbye as well.
Such a cool scene here, seeing the parents with the standing ovation for the seniors one last time on this court.
Jordan Lippman, the 5th senior, to check out of the game there. Knew I was missing somebody. This is to your point, though, about the seniors. They've really made their impact. They've helped oversee the transition to Coach Smith, and now they've got a 20-win regular season under their belt to follow up last year's regular season championship. The crowd up on their feet as the Trinity Tigers put 98 points on the Schreiner Mountaineers in what ended up tonight as a battle for second place, a battle for the first round bye in the SCAC. A win elsewhere from the University of St. Thomas, all but assuring that the Celts will take this year's regular season championship. Trinity will be coming for that tournament crown, Brian.
I think they certainly will. If they play like this, it'll be hard to stop them. 5 guys in double figures, led by Enzo Seiki, getting to 19, adding 9 rebounds, so nearly his second double-double of the season. Someone who did get a double-double for the first time in his career, Mick Marquez, with 10 points and 10 rebounds, so we highlighted him from the start. And the senior who went from manager to star in this senior year plays such a big role for the Tigers. And I think if you look at how the Tigers have done against the ASC as well, just foreshadowing for how they could do if they are able to get through that tournament in Sherman, which I know you're looking forward to.
And Luke Terry is down on the floor with Enzo Seiki and Mick Marquez. Luke, take it away.
Game this Sunday, Enzo.
Trying to be a solid foundation for this team.
For you, Enzo, 19 points, % shooting tonight. Overall team performance today.
24-point dub. I mean, you gotta love it against the number 3 team in the conference. It's a huge game for seeding. Now we get a bye, so we're in a good spot, man. We're in a real good spot.
One more this weekend. What do y'all need to do to keep it hot as you head into that conference tournament?
Just need to go out here, keep playing fast like we have been, keep playing hard like we have been. Caleb, all our guards who are all pests, man. They gotta keep doing what they're doing, and we'll keep winning like this.
Our starting group and keep it going. Who knows where we'll be.
Awesome. Congrats, guys. Good luck this weekend.
Sweet, thanks, man.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Luke, and thank you, Enzo and Mick, for your time there at the end. Trinity win this one 98-74 to close out the regular season home schedule. They'll finish the season in Irving at the University of Dallas this Sunday. For myself, Ryan Figert, for Brian Yanselson, for Luke Terry, for Josh Maxigemba, for Ryan Cedillo, and the whole student crew, thank you so much for your time throughout this season. Thank you for your viewership and your devotion to these Trinity teams. It's been our pleasure to bring you the action from CalGuard Gym, and we hope to see you for some postseason action here in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
For more than 150 years, Trinity University has celebrated human inquiry. Our innovative curriculum is rooted in a distinctive blend of the liberal arts and sciences. Students and faculty hone creative curiosity by answering questions and questioning answers. In a supportive, interdisciplinary environment, they seek ways to build bridges and make connections. And with intentional meaning and purpose, they are driven by a sense of duty to themselves and to the world. Add in opportunities for undergraduate research, experiential learning, and nationally recognized pre-professional programs in business, communication, healthcare, education, and entrepreneurship, you get the full Trinity experience. The liberal arts plus. And while this experience may end with a Trinity degree, it's just the beginning of a lifetime of inspired exploration and perpetual discovery.